It's time for Making a Living with Maggie Mistel, one of the nation's best-known career coaches. Ready to soul search, research, and job search into your ideal career? Career Happy Hour starts now.
Hi, and welcome to Making a Living with Maggie Mistel. I'm excited to be with you, helping you focus on your career and have some more freedom when it comes to your work. That's right. Wouldn't it be great to be free to work the way that you want and with the hours that you want, the flexibility, as well as in the work you want, right? What if you didn't have to do the quote unquote annoying stuff, right? And I've heard some people say, well, every job has some things you don't like. Like, that's only because you haven't worked with me. And I know that can sound arrogant, but that's not where it's coming from. It's coming from years of client experiences. You do not have to do work that you don't enjoy, but you do need to figure out where your genius is and be able to focus your career in that direction. And it's really exciting when you do that. And I'm happy to say that since we last talked, I delivered a corporate seminar to hundreds of people worldwide, which was really fun. And the best part was I got to help them focus on their strengths and uncover their genius and uncover what motivates them, right? Two important key areas to engage yourself in the work that you're best at and that you most enjoy. It's possible. The insights really can help. And the folks who attended were really engaged by the content. They had great things to say. They said it was such a great session. They were engaged and excited about it. Someone else had a great comment. He said, I'm almost never impressed with these sorts of seminars. There's too much snake oil and pop psychology selling ads on blog sites these days. But yours was definitely impressive and worthwhile. It's great feedback to know that I could engage people in having more power and freedom when it comes to the work that they do. And these were people in corporate jobs too. Okay, so I want you to know this is not a Pollyanna conversation. This is a real brass tacks way for you to figure out what you want to do with your life and then make it your career. And in fact, there's a tip coming up later in today's show on exploring what motivates you. And that was one of the two key areas that I covered with this group. So you can get your own mini career seminar by listening to today's episode. I also want to celebrate some client successes, as I'd love to share them to give you hope and inspiration to know that this is possible. 2 started new jobs this month, and 1 said this is the first time he's starting a job without plans to already go somewhere else. Meaning he knows he's there to stay because it's part of his path and his plan. And he's very deliberate. He knows exactly why he's there, and he knows he can build a future there because he's done his soul search research. And his job search yielded this great opportunity. So the process works, and it's been proven many times, and you don't have to sit around suffering, wondering what if. You can actually take control and make what if happen in your own career. What about people who are changing industries? Well, I had a client who changed industries just 19 months ago, and he emailed me to say he got a promotion and 128% raise. That's right. Big jump. Big jump. Big stretch role for him. But it demonstrates the ability that we have to transfer our skills into brand new areas and industries. And I was really grateful because this client wrote a Google review for me. 5-star, right? Working with Maggie has been an unbelievable experience, and she exceeded all my expectations, he said. He said, I guided him to unlock his inner greatness and potential to break into a completely new industry. And that's the thing. I don't tell you what to do. I don't do it for you. I unlock the potential that's within you, or help you unlock it, frankly. It's there. I know it's there. It's a fire. It's a spark. It's within you. It's within all of us. He also said she helped guide me throughout the process, asked the right questions, helped me understand what I really wanted and how to get it. That's what's missing for most people. They don't know what they really want. They just know it's not what they're doing now. But you can figure this out. There are ways to do it. I've written a book about it. I've got workbooks about it. I've got a process to it. I've got a training class if you want to bring me into your corporation or your networking group. I get it, and I'm here to help. And this process has been tweaked and changed over the 20 years I've been coaching to be of service. This person also said he's truly thankful to have worked with me. Well, thank you very much. I'm grateful too. It's so fun to see people do what they love and be successful at it and be not so much surprised, but like this elation. Like, wow. It's that freedom. It's what freedom feels like when you know you're creating your world. You're creating it. You're getting what you want. You're manifesting your desires. It's really fantastic. This person said, if you're looking for a true partner to help you find your next move in your career, you've come to the right place. Well, I do love to partner with people, and I become friends with so many of my clients. Another client started a new business in the last couple of years. It's one he'd been dreaming about doing, and he didn't know if he had it in him to really run a business. He'd been in corporate his whole career, but it's this idea of a side business really spoke to him. And to be honest, it spoke to me. I was very clear that what I saw was CEO material in this individual. I encouraged him to go after this dream and create it. If he felt the desire and the inspiration was there, to give it a shot. And now just a couple years in, it's starting to pay him back. And someone very knowledgeable in the industry said, quote, "You've done a huge job. You've done what almost no other operators have been able to do," unquote. Again, alignment of genius is a powerful thing. When you know where your strengths are, and you know what motivates you, and you know your life purpose, and you know your work preferences, and you know your personality, you can combine all this and align yourself with work where you get feedback like this. Right? Where you get the feedback that says you're amazing and we're so grateful that you're doing this work. And meanwhile, you're tickled pink to do it and can't believe you're getting paid. It's this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful design that is there for each and every one of us. There is nobody that does not have this opportunity. So my only question, you know what it is, are you ready to love your job now that you've heard all of these others who've moved on to work they love? Just contact me if you want to get started. I'll recommend the right approach depending on your budget and time constraints. There's lots of ways to get this done. And there's really no reason to wait, right? Because I'd love to see your success story. I'd love to be sharing it as a way to provide hope for others. And speaking of client successes, my guest today is someone who I did work with through the Soul Search Research and Job Search. And since then, she has done extremely well and has pivoted her prior experience into an exciting new career. Lacey Thorne will be here to share her career change success stories. So stay tuned for that and much more here on Making a Living with Maggie. Would you like to experience a luxurious guided wine tour from the comforts of your own home? StayLuxurious.com travel writer and Florida Keys 5-star food tour guide Craig Zabransky is back for his 8th public wine tasting, and this time he is exploring the fabulous wines of France. He will entertain you and your guests for 90 minutes as you travel and taste 5 personally curated wines for this event. Craig will share insights on the wine regions, the curated wines, along with recommended wine pairings. Find out more and sign up at StayLuxurious.com/wine-tastings. France is famous for wine. The country is prolific in its types of soils, grapes, and methods of winemaking, and many believe the best wines in the world come from France. Best or not, there is a wealth of good quality wines, and you can join in to taste some. Remember, all you need to do is sign up to join Craig on this virtual wine tasting on Zoom, and then order the wines that interest you and get ready to be entertained and educated. You'll learn about the 5 most famous French wine regions and what makes them special. You'll taste wines scoring 90 to 96 points, selected by several renowned wine critics, and discover details on the history and story of the winemakers and unique fun facts about the wines, all without leaving home. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for this StayLuxurious.com wine tasting and reserve your spot. Remember, spots can be shared per household, just like the wine. A link with more information will be in the show notes. Well, I'm excited to introduce Lacey Thorne. Lacey is a dynamic professional who has seamlessly transitioned from the world of fashion to the tech industry. Lacey was a luxury fashion project manager in Hong Kong and fashion designer for Jennifer Lopez, Nicki Minaj, and Adam Levine, under the leadership of Tommy Hilfiger. With this foundation in fashion design and marketing, Lacey made her career pivot and recently graduated from the Yale School of Management with an MBA focused on sustainability. Welcome, Lacey.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. And your career, I mean, we've known each other for a period of time in that transition period, as you can imagine. I tend to know people in those times. But your career has taken you across the world with significant fashion roles in New York, Hong Kong, as we mentioned. Now you're a project manager in tech in New York City and have a startup that combines your background and your degree. So how does it feel to have made your career pivot? This is so exciting.
Well, I honestly can't say thank you enough to you, Maggie. I think during a moment of time when I had been living in New York and then moved to Hong Kong and had repatriated back to the United States and was really looking for what is next for me on the horizon, you and I were connected. And during the process of some coaching and some workbooks, I was really able to kind of identify next steps. And here we are so many years later. And a lot of those anticipations have become a reality.
Wow. Well, it's so exciting to see you follow your dreams, doing what you love, and then see how you can combine your interests and your experiences. And your journey has been punctuated by numerous accolades because of that, including the prestigious Yale School of Management's Entrepreneurship Fellowship and the Yale Climate Innovation Grant. And this is all about your dedication to innovation, sustainability, big things right now, right? That we care about in both fashion and tech, which is a fascinating combination. So we're going to talk more about that. But congratulations on not just making the change, but getting accolades for it, Lacey.
So, yeah, I mean, it's been an environment where, in an academic sense, there's been a lot of opportunity for idea validation from that perspective. And it's been a great opportunity to be able to reach out to those kind of things and win some of them.
Yeah, well, that's what you mentioned. I was reading your post on LinkedIn and you said you believe in the significance of acknowledging the awards you applied for but didn't get too, right? And you said it reminded you that setbacks are opportunities for self-reflection and improvement. So tell us more about that mindset and how it's inspired you through this career change.
Absolutely. Anytime that we decide to change lanes, especially from a long-term career, there's a lot of mental processes involved in that. And when we get a little bit outside of our comfort zone and start trying new things, it's a wake-up call to realize sometimes that you weren't prepared, or your idea wasn't exactly right, or you need to improve on a certain level of process and skills. But that level of feedback really just kind of fuels the fire, especially if you have a goal in mind to continuously iterate both your processes and your procedures and your ideas and your presentations techniques to ultimately be able to refine your message and achieve that goal. So having that level of feedback from so many different application processes and contests and grants and scholarships that I applied to during my time at school was a really good feedback mechanism for some of those processes.
Yeah, and I think setbacks can stop some people, but not you, right? When I say dynamic professional, that's a real case. You really are.
You really have to be ready, I think, during the time of a career pivot to go down a couple of rungs on the ladder, both from a professional perspective, from the validation of your network and your peers, because anytime that we pivot, we are obviously trying something new. And when we've had a storied career in a particular lane and then decide to move into something new, I think that mental block can oftentimes be the thing that holds people back of not wanting to go down a couple of rungs on the ladder just in order to...
It's like the ego ladder, right? You got to go a couple rungs down that ego ladder. It's hard. Yeah, right?
It is hard. And I think that is what holds a lot of people back from pursuing their dreams later in their career stages. Because if you have been very successful in one lane, it's challenging to move outside of that mentally. But for some reason, I just love being able to try new things. And it's like a muscle. The more that you get used to trying out new things, even though they might not always pan out, ultimately becoming resilient in that capacity, I think really helps move agendas forward.
For sure. And you're absolutely right, because I think the trying is the success, right? The trying a new thing, putting yourself out there is enough of a success. I think we've defined failure, at least I've had this conversation with other clients, especially recently, and said, wait, why wasn't I seeing things as a failure if they didn't turn out exactly the way I thought? I've always learned something, and she's redefining failure for her team. Because if you feel like you're going to fail, you'll just stop innovating, or you'll stop growing. You'll stop trying new things if you're afraid that you won't look good, right? Or feel good about it. But when you focus on the trying, that's the victory. Yeah. You've definitely tried new things where, like I said, I can't wait to get to more of that, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you also posted, and I think this is another great thing to bring up, having a mom that made a career change when I was young. It affected me in a positive way. I'm sure it'll affect your kids too. But as a mom of two 6 and 9-year-old, right, your career change showed how incredibly important it is to demonstrate to our kids the power of personal and professional growth, is the way you said it, right? Inspiring them to pursue their dreams fearlessly. You know, I love that. So what's it like what was it like to have your kids at your graduation? What did they say about the experience? What do they say about your career change? Do they get any of this, or how's it sinking in for them?
It was really interesting because when I first started the MBA program, they were younger. They were maybe 5 and 7, and maybe even younger than that. And very quickly, they learned in their own network of friends and teachers that by telling people that mommy was going to grad school at this particular place, that it elicited a reaction from their network of people.
Nice.
It's funny to watch them start to kind of realize that there were certain things that you can do in life that receive immediate praise from your community. But for me, it's beyond that. It's, for me, the most important thing. And ultimately what really triggered my decision to go back to school and to pivot this career and start anew was their daily witness of how I interact on a long-term basis with the community and society at large. I want to demonstrate for them what it means to give back in a variety of different ways and use these academic skills that we put so much effort into when we're young, through grade school and high school and college, and then ultimately be able to use some of that to make positive, impactful change on society from a commercial standpoint. So that's kind of what I wanted to demonstrate to them. And I feel like it's getting through because they've picked up on certain academic pursuits that I'm doing. But ultimately, I want them to realize that mom was committed to engaging in the workforce in a way that sets a standard for them moving forward.
Well, it's an inspiring standard, I can tell you. Like I said, having a mom that changed when I was 6, and watching her go through medical school, it, like you said, live your dreams fearlessly. It makes you realize, kids aren't a reason not to follow your dream. In fact, they're a reason to follow your dream, right? And you don't have to wait till they're all grown up to kind of pursue your own path. So in addition to your tech role and being a mom, you're an educator. And you're a faculty instructor at Belmont University's O'Moore School of Design, where you inspire aspiring designers and marketers. And I've seen the inspiring career videos from your students as they're doing their soul search research and job search into work they love. So what words of advice do you feel is important right now for those just starting out in their careers? What are you kind of teaching, and what are you seeing, especially now that you've got this broader perspective on things?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your credit, Maggie, the soul search research and job search workbooks were so impactful in my own career journey. We now use that as a textbook in the class. And so thank you for engaging.
I have to tell you, it's one of the coolest things, I think. It's just like, hey, look at that.
So much out of it. And so, in the process of doing these workbook exercises with the students in the class, a lot of really interesting conversations come up specifically with regards to mindset. And what we talk about are the mental barriers that we put up for ourselves in order to keep ourselves psychologically safe. And so what I see when I teach my Belmont class every week is 20 young faces, predominantly female faces, who are at the dawn of their career. Mm-hmm. And are faced with a crossroads of pursuing their dreams fearlessly or going the safer route. And what I sometimes tell them is a conversation that I had with a friend who was a downhill skier, the kind that would, ski very quickly through the forest. And I asked them, how do you go so quickly downhill without running into the trees, without running into the obstacles? And the response to this conversation was, I don't focus on the trees, I focus on the path. I look at where the snow can take me, and that way I look around these obstacles and I don't focus on these individual barriers in front of my goal. And so when I talk to my students, we speak so consistently about having a mindset, a goal-oriented mindset. And so much of your workbook activities actually implement these opportunities. One of my favorite ones is it's called A Day in the Life. And we're required to write in detail a day in the life of our ideal career as if it is already happening in the present moment. And you talk about what time do you wake up? What kind of clothes do you wear? What do you see when you are looking out the window? And so much of it is creating this kind of holistic expectation within the mindset of the people who are doing these workbooks, including my students, we're not just creating a career path. We are creating a life for ourselves that feels motivational and meaningful and empowering. And so ultimately, when we work our way through the workbooks and finally get down to the nitty-gritty details of job search, which we all know can be fraught, and all of a sudden you're
nicely said. Nice word to call it, right? Sometimes
you're interacting with employers and you're negotiating things. But ultimately, once you have the mindset of, I feel elevated into a lifestyle that I can see the details of in every capacity, that helps me focus on the path, not the obstacles.
I absolutely love that advice. That makes so much sense because I've even realized it. Whenever you focus on the obstacle, you just get more obstacles, right? That's what we hear. And then you see that in your life. So it's wonderful advice to just focus, not just, but define the path and then focus on it. And that's something you've done, Lacey, for sure. You're walking the talk for your students, which is also a huge integrity and so inspiring for them. I can't wait till they come back to you and tell you, I'm living my day in the life, if they haven't already.
Well, I've been doing it for long enough now. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to watch students really pick up the mantle of these kind of mindset tricks and find themselves in locations and job opportunities that, I don't know if they would have considered otherwise. So it's really, really exciting to watch it happen.
Wow, that's wonderful. How are you working on sustainability in fashion? Because that was your MBA, fashion's your background.
Well, here's the thing about the fashion industry. If you walk into a room of 100 people, the one thing you're probably all going to hopefully have in common is that you're wearing clothing. It is
hopefully.
It's a huge international industry, and there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in it from a career perspective, but also there's a tremendous environmental impact as a result. And when I was working in New York in the fast fashion industry, I went to a factory overseas and we were making an order of 60,000 pairs of neon pink jeans. And
everybody needs a pair.
Right? Well, I witnessed so many pairs of jeans that the concept of jeans stopped making sense in my mind. And I realized this was one order for one store in the entire international global supply chain, and that they weren't very well made. We were selling them for kind of cheap. There was no incentive for resale. and these were going to end up in the landfill. And through that process, I pivoted out of fast fashion and moved to Hong Kong and started working in luxury fashion, where apparel suppliers were not making clothing to be thrown away. There was some level of inherent value associated with luxury goods, but not everyone can afford a closet full of designer products. So nor maybe would they want to. So when I repatriated to the United States, I started studying sustainability initiatives, and without getting too technical, came across some Web3 opportunities with regards to blockchain and NFTs and smart contracts, and enrolled in the Yale School of Management with a focus on sustainability, where I then leveraged their entrepreneurial resources to launch a fashion resale platform that then every time a garment sells in the future, I, as an owner, receive a royalty from that sale. And as a result, what we're seeing is a change in consumer behavior, where producers are willing to create products that are a little bit higher quality, and people are willing to purchase those quality items, take good custodial care of those items, and then resell them into a community of people that's going to keep the item trading for as long as possible in order to keep the royalties coming for as long as possible.
So everybody gets a royalty in the chain.
Yeah. So instead of giving 25% of your sale to eBay or Poshmark or The RealReal, we are a SaaS platform that works with brands to ultimately align incentives between manufacturing and resale, so that, J. Crew can get a cut on the resale of items, but then I, as a consumer, am also incentivized into that process from a circular fashion perspective.
Very interesting. And I think you won an award for this.
Well, actually,
one of only 5 people that won an award for this. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So this idea was accepted into an incubator for the credit card Visa. I'm part of the Visa NFT Creators Program, which is one of 5 people globally who is working with the Visa crypto team to discuss opportunities in blockchain, specifically from a fintech perspective, discuss things about payments, and ultimately really research the creator economy with regards to these blockchain digital assets that are called NFTs that my concept relies on. And it's been an incredible journey so far.
Wow. Well, the innovation is clear, Lacey. I don't know if how it's all going to play out for everyone else is understandable yet, but we'll get there. I'll put some links in the show notes. Right, okay. We'll get it. Well, you are definitely an inspiration, making your career pivot in such a way as to not only inspire sustainability and change in an industry, but in your own family's life, in your personal life, in your students. I'd say you got a pretty good 360 going on here. So thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Maggie. Thank you so much.
Now that we've heard from Lacey, it's time for your career tip. This one is about another important element of your ideal career, your key motivators. When was the last time you jumped out of bed excited for a fun day of work at the office? Or did you just laugh when hearing that sentence? Chances are your daily routine starts more like this. The alarm rings and you don't want to get out of bed. You hit snooze, feel lethargic, and desperately need to get a cup of coffee. You begrudgingly get up and struggle just to get through the workday. If this sounds all too familiar, you probably know you're not motivated by your work. So let's start to understand what does motivate you. Grab your pen and paper or phone, and let's start to make a list. Here are some helpful hints I use with my clients. First, don't force motivation. Many clients I work with have made this mistake. They think they need to get motivated to perform their job. They believe they can create the sensation of becoming motivated. Corporations believe they can motivate employees too. No, the only lasting motivation comes from being in a career that motivates you. So let's not focus on getting motivated, but understand what type of actions or results excite you. What actually does get you out of bed in the morning? Great question to ask yourself. I want you to think about all the reasons that you get out of bed in the morning. Write each one down. It can be anything from supporting your family, to having people in the office that depend on you, to creating new innovative products, to achieving a sales quota. Don't judge them, just write them down. If you can't think of any reason besides I have to or to pay the bills, then think about your days off. Think about days when you actually were up early and not tired. What motivated you then? What excited you about your day? You went surfing? Wait, don't judge it and think, I can't become a professional surfer. Look deeper. It may be nature, being alone, the ocean water, or the physical activity that is the real motivator. Explore each one. These motivators may not yet exist in your current job, but they can exist in your future career if you acknowledge them. Also, it's important to note when it comes to key motivators that it may not be the money. Yes, it may not be the money. Most people tend to think money is their top motivator. But when I pose the question to my clients, money is rarely at the top of their lists. Studies find the same results. For example, an Indeed.com article published in January 2022 found the following top motivators for people at work. 1. Leadership style. 2. Recognition and appreciation. 3. Meaning and purpose. 4. Positive company culture. 5. Professional development opportunities. 6. Job advancement. 7. Financial benefits. 8. Flexible work schedule. Anything on this list sound motivating to you? The important point is to be honest with yourself and acknowledge what will engage you in your work day in and day out through snowstorms, rain, or any bad weather that might be an excuse to stay home. My client Jen didn't want to admit to herself that recognition was her top motivator. She thought it showed she was needy and insecure and felt it was wrong to require recognition to be motivated. She tried to convince herself that recognition wasn't really necessary or important and therefore she lacked it in her work. But through her coaching, Jen came to realize that she thrived when she received recognition for achieving results. She got energy from her manager's positive reinforcement and went to even greater efforts to get the job done. Today, Jen understands her top motivator and accepts it. She's getting the recognition she needs and is finding much more daily satisfaction in her career. To hear more tips like this, check out previous episodes of Making a Living with Maggie and purchase my book, Are You Ready to Love Your Job? Make a great living through soul search, research, and job search. Available on Amazon, where it ranked as a #1 new release in job search. Well, I'm sorry to say that we've run out of time. Thanks for joining. I'll be back again next month. Here's a quote to keep you inspired from C. Joybell C. Here it is. People think that what's important is that the world sees them, understands them, values them. That's not what's important. What's important is that you see yourself, you understand yourself, and that you value yourself. Thanks for listening. I'm Maggie Mistel, your career coach, inspiring you to make a great living.
To understand more about how Maggie can help with your individual career needs and goals, contact her at MaggieMistel.com or Facebook.com/Making a Living with Maggie Mistel. Together, we can all make a great living. Great living.